Welcome to the Music Nation podcast with your host, Thomas Taylor. You can contact Thomas at thomastaylor31@gmail.com. Now, here is your host, Thomas.
Hello and welcome to episode 21 of the Music Nation podcast. And on today's podcast, the topic is 360 record deals. So, you have a hit record, you have a catchy song, you have a huge social media presence, social media following, and record labels are reaching out to you and wanting to sign you to that big, bad record deal. And you meet with them and they offer you a 360 record deal contract. Do you sign the contract or do you not sign the contract? I mean, what is a 360 record deal? How do they work? Are they a good thing for your music career at the moment? And you're starting out, you need the exposure and things of that nature. So is a 360 record deal a good thing for you right now? As we well know, there's a lot of radio and streaming services that are alive and well out there. And some you pay for, some you don't, some are free. And let's just be real that we as consumers, and I put us in that mix, we're not purchasing records and CDs like we used to. Back in the day, a CD was coming out, or an artist was getting ready to release their music. There was a big hype about their CD coming out or album coming out, and you couldn't wait until New Music Tuesday or New Music Friday. I remember when I was in the military, I could not wait to get to the post exchange to buy my favorite CD because I knew it was coming out on Tuesday. Well, this is not the case in 2019. We're not buying those records and CDs like we used to. Everything has changed. So what is a 360 record deal and how do they work? 360 record deals are also called multiple rights deals. And, record labels typically receive a percentage of revenue, money through your endorsements, your merchandise, your books, basically whatever you touch, whatever you put out to sell, the record label wants a part of that income or that revenue because CDs are not selling. They've got to recoup their money somehow. A lot of people think, I'm going to sign this record deal, and they're going to pay for my all this stuff. Well, as I learned in music business school, that this stuff, tour buses, recording of your album and all that stuff costs, and the record labels are wanting to recoup their money. So that is the reason why they have come up with this 360 record deal, where they get a piece of your merchandise, your endorsements, movie deals, book deals, and things of that nature. So otherwise, a lot of these income streams, we call them these days, they really couldn't touch. Now if you sign a 360 record deal, they get a part of your digital sales, your tours, concerts, your live performances, and as we said, merchandise, endorsements, appearances in movies and television shows, as I talked about, songwriting, lyric display, publishing revenue, and, if you do a ringtone and your ringtone becomes popular, they get a part of that as well. So is that a good deal? Is that a good trade-off? What I'm hearing in the music community is that labels say they commit to promoting your band or you as an artist for a long period of time in exchange for that bigger cut that they're wanting within this 360 record deal. And they'll represent the artist and things of that nature. And they're actively trying to develop new opportunities for you as well. But keep in mind, they're also developing those opportunities so they get a piece of the 360 pie as well. And also the label will function as a manager and look after artists' entire career rather than focusing solely on selling records. Well, I've always been told that nobody is responsible for their career but you. And with that, there is a lot of controversy around 360 deals. A lot of artists like them, a lot do not. But it seems that a lot of recording artists seem that they get taken advantage of. Whereas, again, as we talked about, and I keep hitting this point, where they get a percentage, and most times a big percentage of all of the things that you're involved with, and that just doesn't seem fair, but then again, they need to recoup their money. And, others, just like I say, object to the whole thing, because it's basically you're branding your band, and then you're not getting the profit of it. You're doing all the hard work. You're doing all the touring. You're doing all the publicity work. But that's, again, what happens when, we as artists, we don't have the upfront money to go into recording studios. Or we don't have the money to buy the home recording studio equipment, And, again, it's all about you branding yourself, and a lot of artists try to get out of their record deals, and record companies not letting them out of the record deals, especially if you're an artist who is really successful. It's just hard to get out of that record deal because the record label has invested in you for the long haul. And these days they don't have to rely on big record sales figures to become profitable, because once they sign you for everything that you touch, so, and, and mostly, everything you make, you get a certain piece of the pie, to where the record label gets a bigger piece of the pie because they put up most of the money. Now, you ask me, because I am a recording artist as well, I go under the name of The Dance Therapy, and I also have a record label, independent record label, Dance Therapy Records. So you asked me, would I sign a 360 record deal? I would say no at the moment, and probably no in the future. I'd say I would not do it because there is so many tools out there now to where you could, again, like I did, you could start your own record label and you could do all your work yourself. Yeah, because, you have a lot of people in the band. You have a lot of band members that you could assign the work to. And you as an artist, you have a lot of friends that you probably would help you out as well. I'm just saying, you don't need a distribution deal because you have platforms like DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby, that you can release your own music yourself at a fairly reasonable price these days. And if you need cover art for your album cover, you could go to Fiverr.com, or there's other places out there that will do an album cover for $5, $10, $20. And let's talk about exposure these days. I mean, we've got the most exposure that we've had in years with the internet. I mean, and you got all these other platforms you can put your music on, like SoundCloud. You put it on Facebook, Twitter. You can put it just all over the place, where people can just listen to your music. And I know I didn't name all of them. And you can put snippets on Instagram. I do that all the time when I'm getting ready to release a single. I put a snippet of the single or a picture of the photo album on Instagram. I'm just saying there's so much exposure, or ways you can get exposure in these times of when you want to release your music. So I asked the question, why would you need to sign a 360 record deal? And now there's been arguments from record producers and record label executives. They say, oh, well, if your music doesn't hit, with the 360 record deal, we can focus more attention now on your YouTube channel. Or if you write a book and your book takes off, you're still going to recoup the money. Well, they're going to recoup most of the money because in most cases on the 360 record deals, they get a big piece of that 360 record deal pie, if you would. And, there's artists who have signed 360 record deals. I think Akon, if you're familiar with Akon, he signed Jeffree Star. Now, Jeffree Star started out as a music artist, but his music didn't sell. So then he started a YouTube channel selling cosmetics. Now, Jeffree Star, go out and look him up. He's a huge YouTube sensation, and he's selling cosmetics. But within that deal, that 360 deal, record deal he's under, Akon, who signed him, is getting part of that revenue from this YouTube channel. So that's basically what a 360 record deal is. What you have to also take into consideration, that if a record company is not pushing your brand, and not getting you that exposure, then you're not going to sell records, and therefore the 360 deal is not going to work anyways. But what I would say is all about the branding. You can brand yourself. And what happens a lot of times, let's take this scenario here, that you have this big hit, you're the biggest artist on that label for a year or two, and then you're making all this money, and then you release your next album, and then the record company does not push your album or brand you like they did on your last album, because it's just not. I mean, they moved on to the next biggest artist or the next big thing, because they've got to make money, because they got people they got to pay, they got to make payrolls and things of that nature, which is understandable. I guess my point is that once you have your success, and if you're not successful, you're not the Beyoncés, or you're not the Katy Perrys, or you're not the Shawn Mendes's that's constantly putting out those hits, 21 Savage, and you have a bad year, the record company's going to turn on you. Okay, let's just be real about it. So I would say to you, in these days of the internet and the technology and how the music industry is, and streaming and promoting yourself and things, my recommendation would be, from a funding standpoint, is to do two things. Ask your family and friends for money to start your record label and to put your music out, or to buy that music equipment. Or if they can't do that, then get you a side hustle, get your job, and do music and stuff on the weekends, or do what you got to do. But I would more than likely stay away from the 360 record labels or 360 record deals. And I know there are a lot of young artists out there now that see the money, the record companies offering you all this money and stuff, and there's recording contracts and things. And that is great, because they know you have a talent and they love your music and things. But you got to remember that the music business is a business. That's why they call it the music business. So I would encourage you to get a music business lawyer, and the both of you sit down and read over the contract. And some of these contracts are very, very long and wordy and things. But the bottom line is, it's all about the numbers, right? So just make sure you read the contract. I can't tell you how many times I've heard on, again, these interviews where these artists, especially the older artists back in the 60s, 70s, in the 80s, to where they didn't read the contract, they just signed it and thought they was going to be hot forever. And let's face it, no artist is hot forever. You're going to have some good days, some bad days, some good years, some bad years, and you're going to have some number one hits, and you're going to have some not so good hits or music. And people are going to tune you out because they're on to the next big thing, because of today's attention span of everyone. So that's why I'm getting ready to end this podcast, because I know I'm going on and on and on and on, and I don't want to bore you with everything. But bottom line, just read the fine print and really think about the 360 record deal. Pray about it, and just know that you can do everything you need to do that a record label can offer you. You can do it yourself. It just may take a while. It may take a little bit longer for you to get where you need to go. But always remember that anything worth having is a slow process. It's not an overnight sensation. You don't want to be an overnight sensation and a one-hit wonder. And plus, you want to be able to release the music when you want to release it, not when someone's telling you that you gotta get into the studio and release some songs that you are not feeling and that you're not wanting to sing on stage or in concert. And you're not wanting to write that book that you just are not feeling, but you have to write it because that was part of your 360 record deal. I hope you get my point, and I want to leave you with this. Love on someone, hug on someone today, treat somebody right, and remember life is a dance floor and you got to keep on dancing. And I'm going to end the podcast with one of my singles that I released under my record company, Dance Therapy Records, and also under my EDM name, Dance Therapy. And this is called Dirty Love. It's a Dance Therapy, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Music Nation podcast show with your host, Thomas Taylor. This has been an I Got Your Six entertainment production.
The podcast can be heard on Spreaker, YouTube, Dance Therapy Radio, Twitter, SoundCloud, Facebook, Spotify, and iTunes. Go check out Thomas Taylor's website where you can find a link to listen to his internet radio station, Dance Therapy Radio. You can also catch episodes of the podcast at Spreaker.com/user/The Music Nation Podcast, and follow Thomas on Twitter at Thomas Taylor 55, Instagram at Thomas Taylor DJ. You can also listen to Thomas's music on SoundCloud. Go to SoundCloud.com/The Dance Therapy. That's the Dance THERAPEE, The Dance Therapy on SoundCloud, and make sure you subscribe and stream the Music Nation podcast on your favorite podcasting platforms today.